Close your eyes for a second. You're walking home after a long day when something catches your eye. A wallet, lying alone on the sidewalk. You pick it up. Inside there's a house key, a crumpled grocery list, and tucked neatly between the cards, a crisp $100 bill. Now answer before you have time to overthink it. Does finding more money make you more likely to return the wallet, or less? Almost everyone gives the same answer: less. After all, the bigger the reward, the stronger the temptation. More cash should mean more people quietly slip the wallet into their pocket and keep walking. It sounds obvious, but not exactly. When researchers actually tested this question in the largest lost wallet experiment ever conducted, the results completely defied intuition. They also asked real economists, people whose entire job is predicting how humans respond to money, to guess the outcome. They got it wrong too. What they discovered wasn't really about lost wallets. It was about us. About how surprisingly honest people can be, and how spectacularly bad we are at predicting the goodness in one another. Back in 2019, a team of behavioral economists, led by Alain Cohn and Michel Maréchal, wanted to settle an old argument once and for all. When honesty and self-interest go head-to-head, which one actually wins? So, instead of debating it, they designed an experiment, a massive one. They built nearly 17,000 fake wallets. Not bulky leather wallets, though, just transparent plastic card holders. Simple enough that anyone who picked one up could instantly see what was inside. No opening, no digging around. That tiny design choice would turn out to matter more than anyone expected. Inside every wallet were the same ordinary clues of a stranger's life. A house key, a handwritten grocery list in the local language, and 3 business cards with a name and an email address. The names were fake, but intentionally forgettable. Nothing flashy, nothing suspicious. Just someone who could have been your neighbor. Then the experiment went global. Research assistants walked into hotels, banks, museums, post offices, police stations, anywhere with a reception desk, in 355 cities across 40 countries. Each one played out the same little scene. "Hi, I found this on the sidewalk. I think someone must have dropped it." They handed over the wallet and walked away. Then they did it again and again, more than 17,000 times. But is the amount of money in each wallet the same? Well, no. Some wallets contained no money at all. Some held the equivalent of about $13. And in 3 countries, the United States, the United Kingdom, and Poland, the researchers raised the stakes dramatically, slipping in nearly $100 in cash. Nothing else changed. Same key, same grocery list, same business cards. Just one question hanging over the entire experiment. Would more money make people less likely to do the right thing? Or would it do the exact opposite? All the researchers had left to do was wait and see who would email the owner. Now comes the part that surprises almost everyone. Before I show you the results, just make a prediction. Seriously, which wallet do you think people were most likely to return? If you're like most of us, your answer is probably the empty one, right? No cash means no temptation. Nothing to gain by keeping it, so returning it is easy. But if you start stuffing bills inside, then honesty should become a little more expensive. That's what common sense tells us. However, it just happens to be wrong. In the 3-country trial, only 46% of people reported the empty wallet. When the wallet contained about $13, that number jumped to 61%. And when researchers tucked in nearly $100, the return rate climbed again to 72%. Not down, but up. Even more remarkable, this wasn't some statistical fluke. The same pattern appeared in 38 of the 40 countries involved in the study. Across cultures, languages, and continents, the story barely changed. The more money people found, the harder they tried to give it back. Now, take a moment to let that sink in. Imagine finding a stranger's wallet with almost $100 inside. No cameras, no witnesses, no one would ever know if you kept it. And yet, that was exactly when most people chose to track down the owner. The bigger the temptation became, the more likely honesty was to win. But there's one more thing that's quite special about this entire study. The researchers didn't just conduct this only one experiment. Before revealing the results, they asked two very different groups to make a prediction. About 300 ordinary Americans and 279 academic economists, people whose careers are built on understanding how money shapes human behavior. Their answers were almost identical. More cash, more temptation. More temptation, fewer returned wallets. It is simple, just like that. The economists were a little closer to reality than the general public, but they still got the direction completely backwards. No one saw it coming. Not the public, not the experts. The results shown everyone that the people in the experiment turned out to be far more honest than anyone, even the people who study honesty for a living, had imagined. If it's not rational self-interest calling the shots here, what is? The researchers landed on two forces working together. The first is plain old altruism. When you pick up someone else's wallet, you don't just see cash. You imagine what that cash means to them. The ride home, tomorrow's groceries, maybe a week's worth of meals. The more money inside, the easier it becomes to picture what they'd lose. But the second force is even more powerful. It's the story we tell ourselves about who we are. It is something you could call the "I don't want to feel like a thief" effect. Keeping an empty wallet with just a key and a grocery list doesn't really feel like stealing, because there's nothing there to steal. But keeping a wallet with $100 in it, that's different. Now it's no longer, "I found a wallet." It's, "I took money that wasn't mine." So, most people will go surprisingly far to avoid becoming that person, even if no one else would ever know. To many people, they were protecting something far more valuable, their identity. Rather, the larger the amount of money, the harder it is to ignore the feelings of guilt they might have to endure later. To me, that's the real takeaway from this study. We like to believe people are driven by incentives. Offer a bigger reward, and they'll make a more selfish choice. It is undeniable that it feels logical. So logical, in fact, that not only did most people believe it, even the experts did. But eventually, they were wrong. Because most of the time, we don't make decisions by asking, "What's in it for me?" We ask something much quieter. What kind of person would this make me? That question just follows us everywhere. It's why we sometimes do the right thing, even when nobody's watching. It's why we look for excuses before we cut corners. And it's why the stories we tell ourselves often matter more than the rewards in front of us. I think that's what makes this experiment so beautiful. It isn't really a story about lost wallets. It's a story that tells us everything about human nature. We often assume the cynical explanation must be the smarter one. That deep down, people are mostly selfish, and kindness is just wishful thinking. But this study reminds us of something easy to forget. The cynical answer doesn't become true just because it sounds sophisticated. Sometimes, people really are better than we expect. So next time you catch yourself assuming the worst about how someone, or you, will act once the stakes go up, then just remember about the wallets. Hundreds of smart, well-informed people, including professional economists, were certain that was how the story would end. But reality always tells a different story. Because people aren't just driven by what they can gain, they're also driven by who they want to be. And honestly, I think that's a much more hopeful way to look at the world. Don't you agree? If this story made you see human behavior a little differently, that's exactly what this channel is about. Unpacking the surprising psychology behind the money decisions we make every day. then please consider subscribing, okay? I'll see you in the next one.